Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me speak. This is the first time I've done a webcam video. And yes, I'm in my nightgown. I don't care if somebody sees me in my nightie. I've been an autistic for the last 46 years. Well, I was diagnosed late in not 1900. No. I was diagnosed with autism in the Asperger's spectrum on December 11th, 2015. And I was only 45 and a half years old when I was diagnosed. That was 41 years late. And I mean late, because I was 4 years old when I was diagnosed with severe speech delay, severe social skills in the behind. I'm very, let's say, I'm very naive, socially inept. What would be cues for you would be, I wouldn't understand what cues people are giving off, like if they are getting they don't understand that I have issues until until I tell them that I'm autistic and I'm socially inept. The cues that you would know and understand, I have no way of understanding. I don't even pick them up. I don't know. And I can blah, 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 blah for hours. And you would be like, making nuances for me to, hey, we don't want to know that stuff. Can you stop? I wouldn't pick up on that. I wouldn't be able to pick up on the cues that you would be putting out. So basically, you have to say, hey, Beth, whoa, stop, right there. I don't know what's going on. We don't need to know that stuff. You're talking too long. And that's what my main problem is. I have no social skills, which is one of my big mistakes in life. I've been cocooned for most of my life. Since I was 16 years old, I've been basically cocooned in my family home. Not, well, I'm held like a prisoner. No, nothing like that. It's just that I didn't continue my education. I dropped out of school when I was 16. I proceeded to have my learning ability of everything around me come from newspapers, the TV, the radio, and I love to read. It's one of my passions. I love reading, and I end up writing a lot of stories, and I've done several original stories, a lot of fan fiction. I have and this is one of the things that most people will be like, whoa, Whoa, you mean you did that? Yeah. From 1986 to 1993, late in 1993, I wrote a long fan fiction story that is over 1,000 pages. And I mean 1,000 pages. Over 1,000. I have 4 black binders that are about this thick, with maybe 200 pages, maybe 400 pages in them. In each binder, I have 4 of them. And one of my original, I do a lot of original writing. I write all the time. During breaks at work, I would pull out one of my books and like this, and I would basically write. And I don't know if you can see it, but that's one of my poems that I did. That's one of my poems. But one of the main things that I like to do is actually write original stories. Actually, this is one of my part of one of my stories. This is from my original story called Attack at Talladega Bay, which is a shark story. And this is just a little tidbit of what one of the scenes is. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to show it. That's one of the scenes that I did. And the thing is, I do really good at writing. But at this moment in time, I'm actually working on getting my education done, my GED. Because when I was 15 and a half years old, I actually dropped out of school. Some people may say, oh, that is bad. You need to stay in school, Beth. You needed to stay in school. Well, at that time, no one understood autism or any learning disorders like autism or Asperger's spectrum. They didn't know or understand that. They didn't understand that I was in the 7th grade with 3rd grade math skills. 3rd grade math skills I had. And I looked at all of my report cards from kindergarten to the 7th grade, and each one after the 3rd grade that my teachers would say, Beth has math issues. Beth has math problems. Beth's problem is in math mainly. She needs help. Would they give me a math tutor? No. They would rather focus on one thing. Instead of my math skills, they would focus on my speech. I had 4 molars in my mouth that I shouldn't have even had in my mouth. I had a speech impediment of 4 extra teeth. Well, I had the right amount of teeth in my mouth, but those 4 teeth that I had pulled in the month of September in 2001, and the following year, I think in October or one of the other months, for the next 3 months, 3 years, I would have one or two molars removed. My third year, I had two molars removed because the molar was basically the lower molar was going to be removed, and the oral surgeon said we're going to also remove the one up top because with the tooth below not being there, it will come out on its own, and it would not be a good thing, so we're going to pull that at the same time. The other molar back here, was cracked all the way down to the root itself. That tooth was removed. We didn't even think of removing the upper tooth till the next year when that tooth was removed. And the year after that, which would be year 3, this back molar cracked because of a cavity that I had in there. It had actually cracked so bad they needed to remove it. It came out in one piece, and the oral surgeon went and removed the upper tooth as well. And it was about 4 days later, my mom and I were in my mom's little red Mercedes, and I like to sing in the car, and I was singing, and I said a word that I had extreme difficulty stating. Mephistopheles. That was the name that I could not say correctly. And when I said it, my mom turned and looked at me, said, "Beth, repeat that word again." And I'm like, "What word?" "Mephistopheles." My mom said Mephistopheles, and I said Mephistopheles. And she said, "Beth, you had issues with that word before. You said it perfectly." And I'm like, "Really? Are you sure? It sounded perfect to me." And she said, "I think we solved it. We solved the issue. We solved your speech issue. I had too many teeth in my mouth. When I was 15 and a half years old, they put me in speech therapy. They kept me in speech therapy since I was in the 3rd grade because I was not speaking correctly. I was rolling my R's. I was making the R's into W's. I was making certain words sound different. When we would go to restaurants, I would say where, and it would sound like well to them, to the waiter or the waitress, and they would say, "You want well?" And I'm like, "No, where?" And it sounded like well to them. And I got to the point where I had to write it down. I had to write it down, and I said, or I would point it out to them and I would point out the rare, and they would say, "Oh, you want rare for your steak?" And I'm like, "Yes, rare." And I would have to enunciate the R's constantly. I was constantly saying rare, and it was to the point where people were like saying, "Okay, what is she trying to say?" And I got fed up, and I started writing what I want down. I would take a pencil and write what I want down. And from there, everyone understands what I want. And it gets me frustrated when people do not understand what I say. Because I'm always, my speech is not perfect like everyone else's. I have difficulty saying certain words. And everyone thinks, oh, she just has problems. She has issues. No, it's just that I speak different because I learned how to speak different. I did not have the same style of lessons talk in speech. They were focusing on one letter in the alphabet for me to correctly say, because I would say snake. Now I can say snake, but in the past I would say naces. And they would be like, no, it's snake. Till I figured that out. Then they went from S's to W's and R's, and they never really got me to where I could articulate without having to think about how to pronounce a word. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of words. A lot of words have a lot of difficulties for me, and that basically is one of my problems. People will say, oh, whatever your parents did when you were growing up, they didn't teach you right. No. I learned what I could because I didn't speak fully till I was 9 years old. I had such a foreign tongue, no one really understood what I said. I could be a simple request that I would do when I was contending with my speech issue. I would want a glass of water, and now I can just say I would like a glass of water, please. Back then, my language would have been blended with so many different languages and everything else. Well, you wouldn't even understand what I said because it's blended so difficulty where all you would understand is probably one word out of the whole thing. Because I would put Spanish in, or maybe it might have been Mexican, into my language, and all you would probably understand is one word, maybe agua, and beyond that, it's basically that's what you would be saying and hearing is that my speech difficulties isn't because I was taught different. I learned different. I didn't learn the way everyone else did at school. And that's why I have a strange accent about my voice. It's because of everything else that I have done in my life. My voice is not 100% perfect. There are every a lot of language that there's issues that I have with voices, certain sounds, certain words may come out different. I might have issues with a word that may be simple for everyone else, but it would be difficult for me. And that's just me. I have speech issues, and if you don't really understand my language, then I don't really mind if you say, "Hey, would you restate that because I didn't understand what you meant." But too many people just say, "Oh, she's stupid. She's an idiot. She's a..." I'm not even going to say the word because it's an insult. But mainly, people would think that I'm stupid because of my language. And I'm not. I'm different. And I like being different. That's me. I'm different. Everyone is different. If everyone was the same, we would have no... what would be... we wouldn't be unique. We wouldn't be unique in the world. We would be... Everyone would be sounding like everyone else. And it's like, oh, I hear myself and you. Or you, or you, or you, or you, or you. We are all unique and special. So don't forget that. You're special, you're unique, and you mean something to someone. I need to get off here and get this uploaded. Bye.